Hello Chess Total folks. Today we are going to start a lesson to show beginners how to checkmate with some simple pieces. So look, I'll show you how to checkmate with 2 rooks, then with a rook and a queen, then with just 1 rook and with a queen, right? These checkmates are quite basic and I'm going to teach you how to do them right now. Okay? So let's get started. Since white always starts, I will begin with the white king. Let's suppose it moves here. The checkmate with these 2 rooks is simple. You will create a ladder, you leave 1 rook pinning the king, and you move the other down. So look, check. Threatened to capture the king. He can't move here because he's trapped up here. And these 2 squares now, this rook here, trapped him. So he will have to move down. When he moves down, you leave this one pinning on this line and come with a check here. He moves down 1 more, you come, check. And when he moves down, you come and checkmate. Threaten to capture the king and there's nowhere for him to go. Alright? It's quite simple. I'll just show you a detail to be careful about, which is when you come here. Let's suppose he moved here. Before you move this rook down here, notice that this rook will be unprotected. So, if I did this, he could come here and capture this rook. So what do? Before doing this, he moved here. Before doing that, I will move this rook as far as possible. I'll move it to the edge of the board. Then if he comes here now, because now I can't move these rooks further down here, so I'll move it to the other side of the board as well. See? Now there's no way. Even if he comes here now, then check. He moved down. Check. The king moved down. Look, just notice. If the rook were to move down here, you would have to be careful. Then you would move it to this side. But since it's not, move down, checkmate. See how simple this checkmate is, folks? Alright? Alright, so let's continue now. I'll show you how to do it with a rook and a queen. With a rook and a queen, you always place the queen further back and the rook here in the front part. And the same thing as the ladder, let's place it here if he moves and shifts here. You come here, bring the queen. He moves the king and you take and check with the rook here. In this case, you don't need to worry about the king being close and having nothing defending because the queen is defending the rook. So he can move down here to the corner, you move down and down again. So the only difference is that this queen will always be defending this rook. So you don't need to keep moving over there. If the king gets close, you play to the other side of the board. You just need to keep making the staircase, moving 1 down, move 1, then move the other, then move 1, then move the other, alright? It's quite simple. Now I'll show you how to do it with just 1 rook and us king. Look, let's set it up here. For this, I'll explain a simpler way for you, which is as follows. You know that the king can never be close to the other king. So what happens? When you check here, you force him to leave this line, right? Leave these 2 squares. And he can't move up to be king next to king. He's forced to move down. Understood? Then when he moves down, you take and close off another line of his. So you're going to try to do this, see, put the king in front of the king and check him to force him to move down to the last square, right? I'll show a simpler way for beginners like this. Look, he brought the king, then you, see, come here and move the rook, the king over here, right? So he's going to come over here. You can't come and check here now. Why? Because otherwise he'll escape, see? This square here will be clear for him. If I come and check here, he escapes. So what do you come and do? You take and move the rook to the side of... Look, you come and move the rook to this side. Because if he comes here, it will be king in front of king. And when you move down, he has another rook. But if, let's suppose he tries to escape, you move the king. Because if it's king in front of king, and he returns the king to the king's square, you move the rook down. Then he tries to escape. Then you move the king. Then he tries to escape again. You move the king. He tried to escape, you move the king. If it's king in front of king, what do? Move the rook down, okay? Then he will move down here. You come, look, and bring him here. Why? To already threaten if it's king in front of king. If he brings the king here, it will be king in front of king, won't it? That's when you move the rook down. But let's suppose he brings it here. Then you look. Bring the king here. Brought the king here. It's king in front of king, isn't it? That's when you move the rook down, right? Then he moved to this side. You come and bring the king. Let's stay alert to where he's going to bring the king. If he brought the king here, you just wait a little while. Look, you take and move the rook a little forward. Why? If he goes back, you're going to checkmate. But he'll try to escape once more. He'll move here. You move the king. Then he moved the king in front of the king. Moved down, checkmate. Alright? So what do we need to be careful about? When the king moves down, let's suppose the king moved down, stayed near the rook, you move it to the other side. Alright? And if he doesn't want the king to stay near the king, he'll try to move to the side. Then you bring your king. Then he brought the king stayed near the king. You move the rook down. But what if he's on one side and you need to... If you move the king, then he'll escape. So what do? You pass some time. You move your rook just one square. So he comes here, near the king. Then if he tries to escape again, you force him to come closer to the king. Alright, everyone? So that's it. This is the checkmate with a rook. So these were the checkmates I showed you with 2 rooks, with 1 rook, with the rook, and the queen. Now I will show you with the queen how it works with her. It is simpler than with the rook. Let me show you, because she doesn't need anyone supporting her and doesn't need to waste time. You just have to be careful not to leave her unprotected with in check when giving check. For example, if you do this here, check, without anything protecting, the king can come and capture. Alright? So, what do you have to do? You have to bring her slowly, with squares not close to the king. Look, you surrounded the king. He is forced to move down. If he moved down to this, moved 1 down, you come and can. Move 1 down with her. If he moved here, you come. Keep closing in 1 more. Then he moved here. Look, he entered the last row. If he enters the last row, either here or here, you will block with the queen. Right? And now you bring the king. Look, when she has to place her on the 4th row. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. You will place her on the 4th row and leave her there. Why? Because now the king will only have 2 squares to escape. Look, he can't go here because she captures. He can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. He only has these 2 here, so he will keep moving. 1 by 1. Meanwhile, you bring the king and deliver checkmate. Threatened with my king, he can't go here. Because she captures, can't go here. Because she captures and can't capture because it would be king next to king, the king is defending. Understood? So with her, it's even simpler. You will keep closing, either horizontally or vertically. I'll show you again. I'll leave him more here. Horizontally or vertically, depending on his move. So let's suppose I do this here. Look. I take, look, and close here. Right? Then he moved here. I'm already going to close 2. Look. I'll come here and close 2. Close 2. He went back. Look. If I place here, he will capture. Right? So look. Close a little more here. Check. Then let's go. Let's see where he goes. He came here. I already close a little more here. Right? And now he will have to either come here or go down. He will try not to go down. So I already bring one more space. Now in this case, he is forced to go down because he can't go up, nor stay king next to king, nor stay near the queen, nor here, nor he is forced to go down. So now in this case, I will close him 1 more space. Look, I closed it. And now he will try, he only has these 2 spaces. Look, I will move the king up if he comes here. I bring the king once more. If he comes here, I can already come here and checkmate here, right? What you have to be careful about when playing with just the king and queen is not to stalemate the opponent, which is when he is not in check and has no spaces to move to. Let's suppose I played here. Here is the fourth square, remember I told you? 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the limit for you to go with her. You have to leave her on this square here. Why? You will leave these two squares and then you don't move her anymore, because if you move one more square here, you draw the game by stalemate. Why? He can't go to these two, he can't go to this one here, and he's not in check. So in this case, the game is a draw. That's why you always have to leave it on the fourth square, because you will leave these two free. So leave it on the fourth, free square, and then deliver the checkmate. All right, everyone? These were the checkmates I wanted you to learn today for those who are beginners. And thanks for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are enjoying the content. I'm making these videos here for beginners. Later I'll make some more advanced videos for those who want some tactics, advanced strategies. And I'm striving to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can bring this content to many more people. So if you're enjoying it, give it a thumbs up because it helps me a lot. All right? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks a lot to those who watched until here. Really, thank you.